So, I think it's funny that Bethesda has really cranked up this whole Oblivion remake, because it's not a remaster. Okay, they're apparently fully remaking it for Unreal 5. But I think it's very odd that all of the sudden they're super keen on getting it out there. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Hey, the plans were leaked in 2023 or something like that. And that is totally fine. And it revealed plans for a Oblivion remaster. But I don't think it's going to be a remaster. I think it's going to be a complete overhaul of the game into Unreal 5. We'll have to just see what happens, but this is the thing that pisses me off. And this is going to be kind of controversial because there's two very different schools of thought on why I'm pissed. So, if anyone knows anything about Oblivion, everyone knows that Skyblivion, everyone knows that they are taking Oblivion and they're remaking it from scratch, and they haven't been shut down, and they've been remaking this shit for like something like a decade, I believe. I don't know how long they've officially done it, but they've done it for free. They've done it, with volunteers. They've got a great community. And you could say, well, they took too long. Okay, well, we've been begging. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who have talked about like Morrowind and Oblivion and, and all we've gotten is just loads of Skyrim. The online one no one plays. Okay, to be fair, people do play it, but I'm just jaded. And, then supposedly they're working on the next big thing. But we've just been really cycle fed a ton of stuff by Bethesda, which is just Skyrim this, Skyrim that, Skyrim remake, Skyrim, whatever. Skyrim. We've just been force-fed this shit for years. But meanwhile, I think a lot of us turned back toward Daggerfall. And that was super fun. They had the Unity kind of port of Daggerfall, and it added a bunch of functionality, and it was really fun to play. And then I think everyone got nostalgic, and they started thinking about, I think Oblivion's been talked about for a long time. But, I keep thinking about how one of the main ones that I played was Morrowind. And yeah, look at me. I'm old as fuck, and of course, that is, that is what I played. Now, I also played Oblivion, okay? And I think why I'm in my emotions about this is, could Bethesda not be fucking pricks? They get the whiff in the air that Skyblivion is doing this, right? And their little wallets get itchy, and they just decide, let's compete the shit. All of a sudden, we care about doing this. And I get it. Yes, the plans were leaked in 2023, meaning that they already had plans to do this. But it's like the Skyblivion thing has been literally like 10 years or something going. And Bethesda has not really hinted at doing the same thing. But now that we get closer to the release of Skyblivion, and I think a year ago they had this huge marketing push saying, my God, we're so close to finishing these things. And they did the casting calls for the voice acting stuff, and they, you know, and they've put so much time and effort into this thing, you would think that, I don't know why big companies can't work with people rather than against them. I mean, there's been very few times when a company has just said, I love what you're doing. I want to work with you. We want, you know, fuck us doing anything. Let's give you resources and the ability to profit off of this. And I know but again, there's two sides of it, right? There's going to be people in the camp say that, oh, Skyblivion, you mean the people who stole everything? And it's an issue, because it's like, they didn't steal. You know, they completely remade everything from scratch just so that they knew that they would be protected against scrutiny and against legal stuff. They've done everything they could. They've done everything they possibly could to protect themselves and move forward and do something good that people want. And there's so many people sitting here waiting for that kind of release and waiting to play what they've made. And I gotta be honest, it feels weird that Bethesda all of a sudden feels like they need to crank it up and like get this out. It doesn't seem like, you know, it doesn't seem like a coincidence. It doesn't seem like it wasn't planned by them. And I feel like what's going to happen is Bethesda is going to try to get out there first. It's going to be paid. And they're going to try to absolutely compete with these guys and make sure that they don't, you know? And who knows? Maybe they do tie them up with legal stuff. You know? But I personally want to see Skyblivion do well. I think, you know, it's probably going to be free. And it's gonna be Oblivion, but ported to the Skyrim level of polish. So I think, yeah, I'm pissed. Because I feel like Bethesda's been on one of these lately where it's like, we've been loyal, right? We've been loyal. We've been around. We've been asking, and they know that we've been asking. And Bethesda's going through that same thing, I think, in my opinion, anyway. Bethesda's going through that same thing that I fully believe that they're in that era where WoW was, where it come off this big winning streak and then it started to fall. And I think right now Bethesda's in that fall. They're not as far along as WoW is in the decay stage, but I just feel like every time they announce something, or every time, like, I really didn't like, I didn't like the space game. The online game is subpar. I mean, compared to other online games, that's a tough one. Compared to other online games, it's up there, for sure. But as far as, like, does it feel like Skyrim? Does it feel like Oblivion? Does it feel like Morrowind? Does it feel like these things? No, there's something off about it. Like, it has the world and it feels similar, but it's not quite there. Now, I will say this. If Bethesda actually does port this thing to Unreal 5, because they've had a long time. This is a long time issue, okay? If you go back and I had the collector's metal box edition of Oblivion, they had a documentary thing in there. And like one of the things that was in there was talking about how the engine has limitations. Okay, now I don't specifically remember what he said, but this has been a thing going back, that they have always kind of made their own engine, right? So this will be the first time that they're actually relying on hardware that has nothing to do with their engine. One thing that could be interesting is, will this not having their own engine cause less bugs? I would be personally beside myself in a certain way. I would be like, on one case, I'd be like, less bugs, okay. Sounds good. It sounds good, but isn't that kind of like the charm of the game sometimes? So where I'm at with everything is, I hope the Skyblivion people don't give up or just get discouraged, because this is a shitty situation to be in when we have, as fans, begged them to do certain things and they just didn't want to do them. So now we get, it's like begging for a cake for 10 years and then getting 2 of them at the same time. Which one are you going to eat? Because you can't eat them both. And I guess you can, but will you? You know? I just don't think we should keep supporting Bethesda's bullshit. I think that's where I'm at with it. I say I don't want to support them if they don't care. And quite frankly, I know that, especially with Unreal 5, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird. And I know it's going to feel like other Unreal games feel. It might feel floaty, it might feel weird. And we'll see how that goes, but I guarantee it's going to feel odd. Okay? It's going to feel odd, and it might not be the ticket. You know, it might not be the thing that we want. And that's going to suck. But overall, I think we can fully rely on the fact that the Skyblivion is going to be exactly what we want. It's going to be made by people like us. And it's going to be done with care. But I'm interested to see where everyone kind of falls on this. So if you have an opinion about it, I'm down to hear it. But I just think at the end of the day, you know, I know that Bethesda's given us a lot of cool stuff in the past. But fuck me, have they just lately not been there and not listened. But I just want to know what you guys think. I just think the whole situation is very interesting on how they're trying to compete with this Skyblivion thing, because they could have just kept on ignoring us and we would have just taken the Skyblivion, just like we took the Daggerfall Unity port, right? They could have just kept on ignoring us and we would have been okay, because the fans finally just, you know, I think the fans care enough and Bethesda doesn't, and that's where we're at with it. And I realize this is controversial because there's diehard fans, but you know, sometimes you gotta just step back and say, look, just because you made me happy once doesn't mean I have to put up with your shit, you know? That's where I'm at with it. It's like, do we have to eat shit because they made a game that we liked once, but they're not the same company?